Hello, welcome to the Fifth Star. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Albert.
And this is a podcast where we're trying to find our next 5-star rated movie. And when we find that movie, this podcast will be sucked into a black hole.
I was thinking get eaten by an intergalactic being. So on this episode, we are reviewing the much anticipated Fantastic Four First Steps. And we wrote down what we secretly gave the movie on this whiteboard, and we will guess what we think each other gave it, because this is always fun.
Yep.
And I think you gave it a 2.5 out of 5 stars.
Ooh.
Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong, I guess, by your reaction.
I'm going to guess you gave it...
You don't like superhero movies?
I'm going to guess you gave it a 3-0.
Okay, 3-0.
Right in the middle.
We are going to give our spoiler-free review.
I feel like I've guessed 3-0
Every
for the
time
last
3-0.
like 4 episodes. But
I mean,
anyway.
most movies, that's the best odds because most movies are average by definition.
By definition.
And so we're going to give our spoiler-free thoughts first, and then we'll reveal our scores.
Yep.
So this is, there was a much hype.
Yeah.
Had you seen the trailers? Because I avoided all of them. Oh, you didn't
I think I saw a
either.
teaser. I barely knew anything going in.
Oh, okay.
I knew that like the vibe was sort of 50s alternate reality.
Okay, so you kind of had been aware of that.
And I knew who was in it.
Okay.
But that's basically it.
Had you seen any of the older Fantastic Fours?
Yes.
All of them?
Okay, no, I never watched the Miles Teller one.
Okay.
But I watched the 2 Jessica Alba ones.
Got it. All right. So with all that context, what did you think of the new one?
So I do feel like my opinions about this one are similar to the way I felt about Superman, where Superman was so far my favorite Superman movie. Mm-hmm. This one is my favorite Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah. But is that saying much?
But is that saying much? That is a good question because, the bar was really low.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think what I will say, I'll comment on more of the like filmmaking first. Mm-hmm. I did think the cast of 4 had really great chemistry. I thought they like worked really well together. Mm-hmm. I loved the production design. I thought it was so like it was like Incredibles kind of. Like the style, superhero, sort of like a alternate 50s reality.
But it's like retro with futuristic stuff. Yeah, that blending is like super cool.
It was, I thought they did a really cool job. Like just the vibe of it felt really cool and unique. And then it also kind of made me think of the comic book a lot. Because I've never read the comics, but I've seen a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking like, wow, this is giving, a lot of comic book energy, very similar to like the Superman movie.
Yeah. They were able to, like, Marvel, DC is kind of gotten into a little bit of, because even with Thunderbolts, it's, very kind of gritty, like real world. Like, how do we make the comic book world seem somewhat real?
Yes.
But now we're kind of shifting back into, let's just live in the comic bookiness of it all and bring that to life.
And it's kind of cool, yeah. And I think so the director also directed WandaVision, which I don't know if you saw. Did you?
I didn't, no.
Okay.
I understand the premise in terms of going through different genres and things like that.
Well, he goes through the different decades, and he does a really good job stylistically of like emulating all of these different decades. He clearly has a vision for what he wants the design to be, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you. The production design was really great. I mean,
so cool.
I was watching this movie with our number one fan, Tom. Shout out, Tom. In Times Square.
Which is where a huge part of the movie takes place.
Which is technically not New York City, but as you're looking at it, it totally is retro New York City with futuristic stuff kind of mixed in. So that was like a cool experience, just feeling like I'm in the movie in a way.
Yeah, where you were like, oh, it's happening right outside.
Yeah, exactly. From the little gadgets or the flying car, and you know, it's like a retro car, and then it goes right into like driving. Coming down. Yeah, so like that stuff was great. The outfits, the costume design, like that was great.
The rocket ship was really cool too. The way it was designed and stuff. I thought it looked unique but still functional, if that makes sense.
Like it made sense. So yeah, I thought all of that stuff was really great. I think that was probably the highlight of the movie for me.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo-hoo. I mean, we'll definitely get into it more.
That's not true. There was one sequence that I thought was really exciting.
Yeah.
So we'll
towards
talk
the
about
end
that.
or towards the
We'll talk
beginning?
about that in spoilers.
Okay.
But similar to Superman, and I was there. I'm doing the same thing as you're doing as I'm watching this movie because I can't help but keep comparing it to Superman.
Right?
The vibes are kind of similar in terms
Yes.
of embracing the comic bookiness of it all. It also just jumps right into the kind of middle of their story.
Right. We get like a
which-
quick recap.
Yeah, which I thought was a little weird considering the fact that this is called The First Steps. And yet it's not a true origin
we're
movie.
jumping in.
Yeah. But unlike Superman does the kind of dialogue crawl right up front.
Mm-hmm.
But this kind of shows you an actual montage that's, a bit extended.
Which also felt like Incredibles, because that's kind of how Incredibles begins too.
Yeah. I mean, The Incredibles was obviously influenced and, adopting a lot of Fantastic Four, right?
Yeah,
All the powers,
100%.
they're all kind of mirroring those
Yes.
guys. And so I also can't help watching this movie, comparing it to The Incredibles, but The Incredibles is so much better in terms of all
yeah.
the story and all that stuff, which is in a way like kind of not fair because, this is the source material that you're watching.
Kinda. I mean, Pixar is still doing its own thing, but yeah.
Yeah, but so part of me was conflicted. I'm like, I shouldn't be comparing it to The Incredibles, but it also was made after, The Incredibles, so it should be aware that, like, if you're going to do certain things, like, people are going to be thinking, like, oh, this happened in The Incredibles. And, it feels almost like you're just copying it, even though that, Fantastic Four is the source material.
But the stuff that reminded me of Incredibles, I liked. So I don't know if I agree with
I mean, because you have a
completely.
baby that has superpowers that you don't know the
Yes,
extent of
Jack.
it.
I did think about
so
Jack.
there's so many things that are like, this is exactly because even there's like a mole character, like the
Yes,
mole
the
man.
Underminer.
Yeah. And he acts
has the
almost
big drill.
and he acts almost exactly the same way. So
Oh,
it almost
my
seems like
word.
in Fantastic Four when that character is playing his character that he's just channeling like the Underminer. So I don't know. But let's take that part out of the equation
Right,
and
okay.
judge it just for what it is.
Yeah.
I will ask this question. I
Yes.
have not seen any of the introductory stuff. So going into it, did you know who the villain was in this movie?
No. No
Oh,
idea.
you didn't?
No.
So I still don't know how much is revealed in the trailer about one or both of the villains that are in this movie. So if you guys are sensitive to that, you can, skip ahead a minute or two. I was so excited when Silver Surfer showed up.
Yeah.
And, we had not seen a female Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. It made it feel fresh. And then when she announced Galactus, I was like, yes.
You knew.
Because I did grow up with the comics. I am familiar with, their kind of general storylines and things like that. Or
Yeah.
at least, just very broadly.
Right.
And I know that Silver Surfer and Galactus are such an important part of their kind of universe. And
Yes.
they're kind of like the best villain. I mean, there's Doctor Doom,
Right.
which we will see in the future. But, like, I do think that the Galactus, Silver Surfer, Fantastic Four kind of storyline was, like, the best part of Fantastic Four. And so I had always wanted to really see Galactus. Now, we got Silver Surfer in a couple decades ago, right? Generally, like, not well received. I still liked it in the moment just because I really like Silver Surfer, just to be able to see him surfing on the skyscrapers of Manhattan.
For sure.
But this really did take it to the level of, like, what Silver Surfer can and should have been. But in the older one, like, we only saw, like, the implication of Galactus, like, in a cloud or whatever. This time to actually see Galactus proper, I thought was super cool.
Yeah.
So I love that we finally got that.
I agree.
But I will say, when we get into spoilers, I didn't necessarily fully love that. I didn't feel like we got enough.
I can see that. I can
Yeah.
totally see that. I think like I was so in it, without saying too much. I'll be vague here,
Yeah.
but I was so in it when they first meet the big bad and have that like confrontation moment. And then, to be honest, it did kind of fizzle out for me.
Yeah.
That excitement kind of fizzled out.
Yes.
Yeah. Which
And-
is like how I felt about Superman too. Like when I
you're
watched
right.
like the whole first act of Superman, I was like, I'm so in this.
Yep.
I love this. This is going to be really good. And then by the end I was like, "Oh, you missed the mark. You just missed it for me."
Yes.
Yeah.
There's just this whole chunk
Yeah.
where you're just like, what? Like, why are we just sitting around just talking? Like, what's like, where are we going with all of this? You know? And it was just way too much talking and like them talking on what they're gonna do and us just kind of waiting and anticipating. Okay, there were things I did like about this movie,
Well, yeah.
but that I thought it did really well.
Yeah.
But the the biggest thing that I think it messed up was Mr. Fantastic. I just thought, now Pedro Pascal was fine. He was cool. But I just thought that he was so underpowered in this movie. And like he basically didn't use a superpower at all.
Until the end, yeah.
And there was,
I noticed that.
And there was even a moment, like I'll just kind of say, if you've seen the movie, you'll understand what I'm talking about, where he's kind of like working on something, and then he runs over to like put something down on a certain spot, and then runs back to go back to his like buttons and stuff. And I'm just like,
I noticed that
this is
too.
a clear example of like how little you want to show his powers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And why? For no purpose. Like, literally, if
I know
there's
exactly
ever a
what part you're talking
like,
about.
just zook, zook, you know.
please.
Like, this is like a time-sensitive moment.
Why are you running?
Why are you running when you're clearly your only superpower is that you can use your power in this moment to do something, you know?
Yes.
And then, like, Mr. Fantastic has always been one of the characters that when you look at the Fantastic Four, that you're like, the Thing, you know, Human Torch, Invisible Woman, like, you're like, cool, I get it. They have cool powers. And I understand, like, the implication of how they can use their powers in a great way. Mr. Fantastic was always a little bit like a weird power, right? Like, why is that cool? Is that a strong power? You know, how useful is it? Now, in The Incredibles, I thought with Elastigirl, the part of what makes that movie so good is that they do such a good job of showing all the many ways that she can use her power.
Right.
And you're
like
just like,
cleaning her house or whatever.
yeah. Or like when they're falling and then she becomes like a parachute, you know,
Yeah.
you're just like, whoa, she is cool. You know, like
Yeah.
her powers are really cool.
She's very versatile. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when we get a little glimpse of the alternate version of Mr. Fantastic with John Krasinski in, I forget which movie it was, I think Doctor Strange, right?
Multiverse of Madness, yeah.
There's like at least one moment where you get to see him fight, right? And you see a little bit of like his use of his powers, and you're kind of like, that's actually kind of cool.
Right. But
Right?
in this one, he doesn't.
Where is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
It's just totally absent. Like he literally
That's true.
just stretches his legs to run around or his arms to grab things a
Yeah, like
few
Spider-Man.
times. Yeah. That was the biggest travesty of this whole thing, honestly.
Interesting.
Yeah. It kind of made me angry.
Yeah.
I was like, and yes,
you're right. He really didn't.
they did lean into his like brains part of it.
a lot.
Yeah, and that is really his superpower, but I don't know. I just think it was such a big letdown in terms of that part of the team.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Okay. Any last words before we reveal?
No.
Okay. You thought I was give it a 3.0 out of 5, and I did give it a 3.0 out of 5.
Nice.
Yeah.
I also gave it a 3.0.
Oh, okay. I thought you would be even
Right
lower.
in the middle.
Yeah.
Which, like, it was fun. I was not going to give it lower than a 3.
Okay.
But I also wasn't like, wow, this is above average for a superhero movie kind of thing.
I just thought, like, there was never, like, a moment where I was like, yes, this is... Well, okay, there was one moment. So getting into spoilers now.
Yes.
When they are running away from Silver Surfer, And
that was exciting.
Yeah, the whole interstellar black hole bit, and Silver Surfer is surfing on the dust particles of the black hole, and then they do the invisible trick, and then she gets caught in the thing, and she's
how did she
being
get
sucked
out?
Okay. They, clearly, Reed Richards calculated and said this would work, and, she would get caught there for a month. But then she just, like, appears, like, really quickly out of it. So, yeah, like, we knew that eventually she would be able to get out, but it seemed, like, way too quick.
Huh.
And,
I don't remember him saying that.
Yeah, he said that it would...
Take a month?
It would trap her for, like, a month. But it seems like it
should have killed her. But anyway...
Yeah, I mean, the Silver Surfer does have, like, incredible power, and to be able to traverse the universe, like, probably faster than the speed of light, you can understand, like, her being able to get out of it.
Definitely faster than the speed of light.
Yeah. But, I don't know, it was, like, that scene was great.
Yeah.
Or even, like, the moment that she, like, reaches her hand into the womb and it just gets through, and then it, and then she gets sucked away.
That was spooky. I was like, did she just... do something to the child?
I know, right? So that was like a great moment. So that scene was really, really great.
So I'll say,
yeah,
I was loving the movie up until right after that. Like basically up until they returned to Earth.
Yes.
And then it started to fall apart.
It just like falls flat. Mm-hmm. And then nothing is really happening. They're just like talking and all this stuff until Galactus shows up.
Well, now, here's my thing.
Yeah.
They set up the theme, which is family sacrifices for family, right? That's a pretty clear theme, and I agree with that theme. But they never challenge it. And I think that's the problem, is that they never show how the alternative, is the wrong answer. And I think they could have really done something with that conflict where it's like, what if Ben had been like, I don't know, maybe playing with the thought of trading the child to save 8 billion people, a little more. And then that just causes them all to like fight and turn on each other a little bit. And then it could have really revved up the conflict. And then, I wanted some kind of internal conflict to be happening because it kind of just felt like they were given the debate, which in storytelling, the debate is supposed to be something that makes all the characters feel conflicted.
Yeah.
And they just all decided right away, like, nope, that's not an option.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, if you're going to be given an ultimatum that is like a huge trolley problem.
Yep.
Sacrifice your child to save 8 billion people.
Yep.
And then you're not going to talk about it?
Well,
you got to at least talk about it.
So
to create some conflict.
So probably the film, or people who didn't mind this as much as I 100% agree with you, maybe in defense of the film, they talk about it right up front when he's at the press conference, and then someone raises their hand and says, so are you going to give up the baby? Or, so it's kind of implied like there are people who are like, well, that seems like a fair trade-off, right? One life
and then
for
they're
the
rioting.
Whole world. Yeah. And then there's one other moment, where there's kind of like a riot that you see really quick, and then someone just like bikes by and then goes, what about the rest of us, right?
Yeah.
So they're kind of, I guess the movie's thinking that they're addressing this theme. But my biggest problem is that Reed Richards is clearly like the analytical, like, they developed this character that way. And he's kind of like toying with the idea.
Yeah.
And then Vanessa Kirby with Sue Storm, she's clearly like, as the mom, like, no, this is not even an option.
Right.
And then
Which was good
and then
tension.
You kind of have them debate a little bit. And then the other two guys are like in the background, like, no, you can't seriously be considering this, right?
They kind of don't do anything.
Yeah. And then Reed Richards doesn't want to say it, but he's kind of like, I have a plan, but it involves, and then Vanessa Kirby's like kind of puts it together and goes,
she's
wait,
like, why
are you saying that, and then she gets upset, storms out, and then it cuts to like, he's right there. And then they talk a little bit, and then all of a sudden she's on board. And then I was like, what?
Well, no, he just says their fight is actually kind of about something else. Like, their fight ends up being more about his... I thought he had OCD.
Yeah.
And it's more about, like, his analytical brain.
Yeah, but...
conflicting with her emotions a little bit.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was interesting, but I think they could have played up more of, like, we have to do the right thing here. Like, we don't have an alternative.
Well, what I'm saying, yeah, so I mean, I think that what she is saying is in the context of this choice, right?
Yeah, it is.
And so put that choice front and center and let that really be something that the couple has to struggle with,
Yes.
right? Like,
That'd be
let
so
the mom and
interesting.
dad, because their characters are already developed to,
Yeah.
we can understand why they would think this way.
Yes.
We're not going to hate Reed Richards for considering, like, the
Saving
greater
8
good
billion
of the
people.
whole.
Yeah.
If anything, it could be seen as admirable that he's willing to sacrifice his own son.
Right.
You know? And so, like, that could be the conflict that really is being drawn out. And it's such an interesting, like, trolley problem that we've all kind of debated in the past.
Yeah.
And so let that be kind of the theme of the movie.
Yeah.
What is the
If
value of a human life?
If
right?
you're going to set it up like that,
Yes.
like, you need to have some kind of philosophical
Yes.
debate or conversation.
And it's such a cop-out that they immediately figure out, oh, we don't have to sacrifice the baby.
And the speech too. Like, the speech kind of killed me because I was like, one, she's going out into an angry mob that wants to kill her baby, and she's not. She's just. I mean, I guess she has a force field power, so, like, she's probably fine.
Yeah.
But, like, no way are the people going to be crying from her speech when they're about to die. All
Yeah.
of them. They're not going to be crying because
Or-
she's making this heartfelt speech about family and, like, her child. Like, there's no way
she also-
that the crowd is going to be appeased by this.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, these are New Yorkers, right?
well, this is clearly a version of humanity that is way more peaceful than our version of humanity.
And you can say that in the mid-century, like, maybe they were nicer, you know, but this is still some alternate version of New York. And there's no way New Yorkers, you're going to tell them vaguely that they're not going to sacrifice the child and they're not going to sacrifice the world. And they're going to just be like, without knowing the details of the plan being explained, that they're like, oh, yeah, great. We're good with this plan.
Yeah, we love you so much.
Yeah.
You can do no wrong.
Because she just
And it's
says
like,
vaguely and she doesn't actually explain the plan, right?
yeah, and then nobody gets mad and
Yeah.
nobody's like,
Which is-
and then suddenly the problem is solved.
Which is fine. It's fine that the crowd was on board. That's not my main issue. My main issue is that our two main protagonists,
No.
with the whole premise being set up that they're having a new child,
This is why.
with the villain saying that this is the one cost of
Yes.
giving up said child for the sake of the end of the whole universe or the end of their whole world, that all these things are built to be that this is going to be the main tension that tears
Yes.
them two apart.
No, and that's why I think
And they
the
don't
crowd,
do it.
No, that's why the crowd is a problem. Because the moment the crowd was cool with it, that's the moment it was cool
relieves-
for everyone else.
Yeah.
The moment that all of the
Because-
humanity was cool with it,
Because if the crowd is not cool with it, it would have forced their hand.
it would have made the tension so much worse.
Yeah.
It would have created tension among them. Like, they had to at least consider it as an option and, like, talk about it. And
Okay.
yeah, the value of human life. And then they still could have saved the baby and gotten rid of Galactic. Like, they still could have done
Yes,
that.
in the moment of the fight, in the climax, let that be the moment of epiphany of when they realize
They
how they
figure
can
it
work.
out.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
Or let Reed Richards have to overcome his analytical, what the greater good would have been.
Yeah.
I know they gave him a moment with his son,
Yeah.
but that moment should have come much later. Mm-hmm.
That was a cute little scene.
When him and his wife are kind of going through it, they're trying to fight Galactus. They're losing.
Yeah.
And in that moment, he has a quiet moment with his son where he realizes, what am I doing?
Wow. Yeah, that could have been good.
This is my son, right?
Yeah.
And the whole Johnny Storm stuff.
This is my son. Oh my gosh. I'm emotional.
I should not be the one making you cry. It should have been the movie, Jamie.
Okay, I also thought of a good scene that could have happened, which, like, clearly there's this weird underlying C plot of Ben struggling with his physical appearance that they kind of end up doing nothing with in the end. Like, it was kind of a waste of time in a way.
So tangential.
But they could have done something with it, because if he were to argue for the sake of the 8 billion people and be like, you probably need to sacrifice your baby, he could have made the argument, think of what I've had to sacrifice. And that could have been just an interesting dialogue without turning him into a villain. Like, it still would have made him...
I don't know. That might have made him too unlikable, though.
Really?
Yeah.
But there's like, I feel like there maybe could be a way to do the argument, not in a malicious way, but just in a like, look, I've had to like deal with this, and like, I don't know.
And okay, so
it's not a good one-to-one comparison.
So similar. I agree with you that his thing was just kind of him doing his own thing, and what Johnny Storm was doing was also, it kind of felt like him kind of doing his own thing.
Yeah.
With the language stuff, and like, so he's doing that. And then I also felt like, okay, so he's trying to figure out all this stuff. It's not making any sense.
Yeah.
And then he kind of figures out like the one line that she says, decodes that. And it seems like in like 24 hours, like the next day, he's already decoded the whole language.
Yeah, the whole movie felt like 1 week.
Yeah, he decoded the whole language. And then not only that, he's learned it and is able to speak it fluently to her. Was just like,
wild.
Oh my God.
Is he also a genius?
Yeah. I mean, I guess he is a NASA scientist and he should also be smart. The Chris Evans...
But he's not a linguist.
Yeah, the Chris Evans version was much more like he's just like a college, bro, like...
Yeah. Okay, but he was...
Jock, but...
He was flawless. He had 0 flaws.
So I didn't mind his character being the way it was. I didn't
being
feel...
flawless?
I didn't feel... Because he's like a side character. Like, he...
But he ends up almost making a very huge decision. Like, he almost chooses to sacrifice himself. Actually, no, he does. He chooses to sacrifice himself to save everybody. And then Silver Surfer pushes him out of the way.
That's true. He's about to.
He's like about to do it. And he also offers himself in exchange for the baby, which is very cool and admirable. The problem is that sacrifice doesn't feel like as big because he's already flawless. Whereas, like, if you look at a character like Iron Man, him choosing to sacrifice himself is a huge deal because
we know how selfish he is.
He's so selfish. So it's like a really cool arc. And I know that Johnny's not the main character.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean he can't have, like, a couple inner conflicts that we get to see.
I mean, it would have been great to have it, but I'm not even asking for that much, right? What I am asking for is all the stuff he's doing, let it feel more essential to the plot. Where 2 issues I had. One, I think, again, where we wanted more of a debate about the baby.
Yes.
When Johnny finds out about the history of the Silver Surfer, that information could have been the part of the key piece for Mr. Fantastic to realize, I cannot give up my son to that fate. Because then he's going to become enslaved to this being.
That's good.
And is going to be a force for evil.
Yeah.
To destroy all these other worlds, even at the expense of saving our own.
And then maybe Silver Surfer...
And then it ups the stakes even more.
And then maybe Silver Surfer could have given them that, like, final component to defeat Galactus.
Okay, that's my other issue, which is that in the end, when the moment of, Sue Storm holding Galactus back, but he can't, she can't fully make him fall in, all of a sudden, Deus Ex Machina, you just have the Silver Surfer just come in, and she just, like, pushes him in. And we had like, basically, she's just been absent for the whole conflict, right?
Yeah.
Like, the last we saw was, like, she was hearing these messages. Yeah, and then, like, in that moment, like, I'm like, why did she just do that?
It made sense why she did it. It didn't make sense, like, the timing. Like, where did she come from?
Where was she from? Was she watching the whole time? Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, it was also a why did she do that moment? Because it wasn't totally clear to me, like, what her whole... like, honestly...
She killed millions of people by choosing planets for him.
Okay, but the thing is that she had been doing that all this time.
Right.
And she had never had an issue with it, right?
But I think hearing the messages
Yes.
was the final straw.
So now, one caveat. I was exhausted. I had a really long weekend.
Fair.
My best friend's wedding. Shout out, Dave. Congratulations. But, it was just such a long weekend. I was exhausted despite the great company and a great crowd. I was really tired. And then when the movie just slowed to a crawl, I was like starting to fall asleep. So I think I kind of didn't fully understand all the voices and the backstory of the Silver Surfer.
That's fair.
But even despite that, I think in the moment, it feels like that's not immediately like, oh, wow, like this moment of victory that you're feeling. You kind of have to like step back and then remember something that happened like all these scenes ago and then kind of be like, oh, okay, that's why she did it. Yeah. I don't know. It just didn't feel satisfying in the moment,
I think her running away after talking to Johnny and then just, showing up at the best time was what felt. If she had been there, it would have been more earned. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like maybe she shows up
choice made
and
sense.
then Johnny and her have a moment of looking at each other, before... Yeah.
I did love that, like, her theme aligned perfectly with the main theme. She sacrificed for her family. Like, I liked that a lot. And so her choosing to sacrifice herself again to save this planet finally and sort of redeeming her was just, I thought, a cool move. But I do agree, the timing was so Deus Ex Machina. Like,
and also,
perfect timing.
Like, think about her as a character. You're telling me that you've been banished to this fate, right?
Yeah.
And then you hear again after all these, I don't know how long, it's probably maybe millennia, right? The voices of your loved ones. Potentially, like, I mean, is her daughter still alive? I don't know. How long has it been? You're telling me she has no desire to go back to her world? Like, she's going to sacrifice herself for all these strangers?
Well, I think that's why it's a good move because she's not free. So yes, she's sacrificing herself, but in that sacrifice, she is also gaining freedom. Like she's finally found a way out of her imprisonment.
Yes, except that she cannot live past that sacrifice, right? Like
but like at that point, it's like
join with the Silver Surfer.
It's kind of suicidal, but
join with the Silver Surfer. Try to team up with them to fight Galactus.
Yeah.
And then when they realize that even with her help, they can't because he's so powerful, that then she chooses the moment to sacrifice herself.
That would have been good.
Yeah.
Dang.
But like
that
just going kamikaze straight in without even trying to just help them. Like,
that would have been
so that she could potentially live and go back to her world.
She would have become probably my favorite character if they had done that. Yeah. That's dang.
And
Albert, you need to go work for Hollywood.
And with the Galactus, I think it was great seeing him in the city, like him looking at Statue of Liberty walking by.
I thought he was gonna
that was a good moment. Yeah, I thought that was a good moment, and it was good. But I just felt like they didn't really fight. Like their fight with him altogether wasn't that interesting. It was very basic.
Slow mo.
Yeah,
he was.
And I just know that there are moments in the comics where he is so big that he's just holding these planets and just like eating them. And so it was like, he's kind of even underpowered, Like he's so big. Now, I'm guessing that he's in this black hole. He's going to eat the planets or whatever, grow so big that he gets out of them, just like rips a hole through space-time, comes back out even bigger and greater. Like I do feel like I'm hoping that they're not done with him.
Oh no, I think he's coming back.
Okay, and that he's got to come back bigger.
I think he should be a big bad.
Yeah, because I just feel like he was still kind of underutilized, and even their fight, I think, was a little underwhelming. So another thing that, I just need somebody, please, maybe you, Jamie, to explain to me about this plan. Mr. Fantastic develops, really smart guy, can teleport things. So he has these 3 prongs that create a field around this egg.
Right.
And then there's another 3 that it can move the egg over.
Teleportation
right?
thing.
So now his plan is I'm going to teleport the whole Earth somewhere.
Yes.
So we're away from Galactus. Now,
I have to build.
That raises, first of all, some questions about, Silver Surfer can explore all around. So like, how do you know that they're not eventually just going to find you again, right?
Right.
So, but he's going to build towers on the surface of the Earth throughout the Earth.
Right.
So that somehow he can teleport the Earth somewhere else.
Yes.
Where are the prongs on the other side to receive that transmission, which we clearly saw in the egg demonstration.
Yeah.
And also, are you teleporting just the trees and the grass in between the little towers on the surface of the Earth?
Yeah, you're only teleporting the surface of the Earth.
Why are there not like satellite prongs in space
We didn't get to see that.
that can create a field around the whole Earth? How does that work?
I don't know. It didn't make any sense. And it didn't make sense that the entire world collaborated on this without any governmental...
I mean, it was the mid 20th century. Maybe everyone got along.
There's no
I
way.
don't
That was
know.
the Cold War.
People
That
seemed
was
all
the
happy.
Cold War.
No, but this is an alternate Earth, you know.
Yeah,
so.
it was an alternate Earth because no way in the world are people that collaborative and cool with turning off their electricity.
Yeah,
No
that was
way.
really the moral. It's like, if we could just all
It was a utopia.
be on top of saving our power, then the world will be okay.
Yeah, if the whole humanity could just agree with these 4 superheroes about what to do, we would be okay.
But I do think the whole teleportation way they did it was a massive
It didn't
plot
make any
hole.
sense.
Yeah, so somebody please explain it to me if I'm missing something.
And I'm sure you share my sentiment here, but I was really irritated by Sue almost dying. And them really drawing that
Yeah,
out. I was
milking it.
ready to cry. I was ready. I was like, dude, they actually killed her. Like, this might go up to a 3.5 for me.
No way.
Because
You actually thought that they were going to kill her off?
I was kind of hoping. I was like, maybe Marvel has figured it out. Maybe they finally figured it out.
And you think the
And
fact that
her
they were drawing it
sacrifice-
out for so long actually was pointing that way?
As soon as they started drawing it out, and as soon as the baby started crying, and they like put the baby on her, I was like, oh,
You knew.
the baby's gonna heal her now.
Yeah. Mhm.
But before that, I was like, I think, dude, is she actually gonna stay dead? Because like, this is a really strong and kind of powerful choice if they do that.
The mother sacrificing herself.
It's so powerful, and it kind of reflects like the fact that her mother died in a car accident, and she and Johnny were raised by their dad. Like, I was like, are they gonna do that again? And it felt like they were setting it up for that.
Yeah.
And then when the baby heals her, I was kind of like, I don't really get the theme from that, I guess. But whatever, it's a Marvel movie.
Yeah, it just seems
they always
like-
bring people back to life.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, for me, when she was lying there dying or unconscious or whatever, I was like 100% like, oh, the baby's going to save her.
Yeah,
It-
I
there
didn't
was
see
just-
that until
there-
the baby started crying.
Yeah, there's just no way that they're going to kill off Sue Storm, in the first reboot
Yeah.
movie. And
But
Vanessa
it would've
Kirby
been
was
interesting.
really well cast. So the funniest part of that, the best part of that sequence was actually the audience that I was with because
What'd they do?
so the baby gets put down and then Sue Storm like comes back to life, right? And then the audience goes, it was like it's very kind of like, yay, like almost like a half-hearted, half sarcastic kind of applaud, like golf clap, And then the baby started clapping. And then we all just erupted into laughter and then just like started cheering. That's a New York Times Square crowd for you
That's
right there.
perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Just the baby, like,
Yeah. And then we were like, this is great. But yeah, it was, I don't know.
that's funny.
The
I
moment-
giggled when the baby laughed. Or
Yeah.
clapped right there. Yeah.
I don't know. The moment was, I didn't feel like it was well executed.
No.
Like either way, like save her, don't save her. Either way, it could have been better. Oh man. Yeah, they try to straddle both, and then
Yeah.
kind of faltered in both.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
and
It just could have been so strong, but
yeah, and then another. So I took note. I put a pin in this moment. Mm-hmm. The whole Marvel quippy in the middle of important scenes
Yes.
moments. So Mr. Fantastic is being stretched by Galactus.
yes.
And first of all, it's like he's definitely more stretchy than they made him seem to be. Because like he was only being stretched like this much. And I'm like, he can stretch more. I'm pretty
stretch
sure.
more than that.
But okay, fine. And again, it's like, why are they in this universe like limiting his power so much? You know? And in that moment, I'm starting to feel like, oh my gosh, like this is like, I'm kind of feeling.
Yeah, I was feeling like painful.
Feeling the pain, and then it just cuts to Johnny Storm holding the thing, and they're like, say it, and he's like, no, I'm not gonna say it. Say it. I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah.
Like back and forth, and he's like, okay, it's clobbering time, and he drops him, and it's like the timing of that was so bad.
Yeah, it was.
Like in such an intense moment of like you finally get us to feel something.
Yeah.
And you're just gonna cut to this like
make a joke.
Stupid joke.
They did that during the like while she's giving birth too.
Oh yeah.
Johnny kept making jokes like, "Oh, the board isn't attached to her," and I'm like, "Dude, your sister is in labor in space, and like." This is really scary and intense, and like you should not be making jokes right now.
Yeah.
Because I was super stressed when she was about to give birth. I was like, this is really intense. And then he's making jokes, and I'm like angry at him for making a joke.
I know.
Instead of laughing.
I agree.
Yeah, anyway.
It was some of the jokey moments they chose were just like poor timing.
Yeah. I liked the characters. I liked all four of them, but I felt like Johnny and Ben were very underdeveloped and very flat.
Yeah.
I do think you can do it where you can make your side characters still feel, developed or maybe even conflicted without it taking over the plot. Incredibles does it really well.
Yeah.
Violet and Dash each have their own inner conflict that does not take over the plot. It still is very much kind of in the background, but it ends up overall supporting the core theme.
Yes.
And I think they could have done that with a little more finesse, I guess. Make Ben and Johnny feel more real and still be very likable and lovable in the movie.
Yeah, it would have been great. I do think they were going for I do think they were going for like a very straightforward. We're just gonna make this like an episode of all these ongoing stories of the Fantastic Four.
That's true.
And maybe because it was a director who really comes from TV, as great as I've heard WandaVision is,
he didn't have the time.
It does kind of feel like an episode.
Yeah, that's
not
fair.
like a full fleshed out like story for cinema.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And apparently there's all this stuff that was cut off from the trailer, and so like maybe that added to why it was underdeveloped,
why Ben's like conflict didn't really get more payoff.
But I do think the worst of all of them is Mr. Fantastic and Susan Storm. Like, I do think the two of them, like, they were the front and center. They were the main essential part of the plot.
And they
the
still
baby,
were
and
not.
their conflict not being, like, really fleshed out and drawn out was, like, the biggest issue that I had.
Yeah.
So, some very cool stuff, like the aesthetics, the world, the casting was overall good. I'd still think that Superman's casting was better.
Yeah.
They just felt more like just nailed all like the three mains people, and then like their chemistry was so much better in Superman, I thought, like between Clark and Lois, like
between Clark and Lois. Yeah. I don't know if the whole cast,
I mean, even like what's that, the newspaper guy, Jimmy
Olsen.
Yeah, Jimmy Olsen. Like, I even liked him a lot, and even though it still had structurally similar issues as Fantastic Four.
Right.
Yeah, Fantastic Four just overall just was very flat. So it wasn't even like I hated it or I loved,
It just was
Like
underdeveloped.
very, underdeveloped and mostly unmemorable. I don't know.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
So
I love the core message that they were going for. Like,
yeah.
I love and I agree with the, sacrifice for your family. But yeah, there's more they could have done with just like showing how family isn't always perfect and family has mess and things
now,
like that.
they did do the kind of, tease in the mid-credit roll of Doctor Doom coming.
Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
Which is Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. So
coming back.
I do think that, I mean, I'll watch it for sure. I do think they could do something great with that still, like with these characters. So I'm hoping for that.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that if this is like a setup, maybe with some better writing, fleshing some more things out, that they'll be able to really give us something exciting.
I didn't stay for the post credit.
It was just a cartoon that
Okay.
they had shown clips of throughout during the montage.
Okay.
And they just showed like the full intro.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it wasn't really worth it. But yeah, I mean, let us know what you think. From what I've seen, this has been getting some mixed reviews. Some people who really didn't like it. Some people who thought it was great. So we're kind of in the middle.
We're in the middle again.
Yeah, let us know what you thought.
We do keep landing middle for superhero movies, but anyway.
Well, I mean, I did give Superman 3.5.
Oh, that's true.
So I did like this better. And
That's
I gave
true.
Thunderbolts 4. So
Oh.
I still stand by that.
Oh.
Oh, wait. Did I give it a 4 or did I give it a 3.5?
thought you
Oh,
gave it a
okay. I gave it a 3. If I give it a 3.5, I give it a high 3.5.
Okay.
So that's my ordering of the 3. I Thunderbolts, then Superman, and then Fantastic
I think
Four.
I agree with that.
Yeah?
I think I'm in the same boat. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they're just much closer together.
They're just all
They're
threes. But the
Yeah.
ordering is correct.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So let us know what you thought.
Yep.
And
You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Letterboxd, or Apple Podcasts.
And join us next week as we continue our quest for the 5th star.